Hello and welcome to the alley skirt sewing tutorial. I'm going to take you through step by step how to sew the alley skirt. I'm going to be sewing the mini length, but it is the same steps for the maxi length as well. I'm using a beautiful denim fabric, so quite thick. I've also already fused my facing pieces. If you want to purchase the alley skirt, it's linked below, and inside the instructions you'll have all these steps in more detail with illustrations and tips on top stitching and just sewing in general. So make sure to purchase the alley skirt, and if you do, make sure to share it on social media and I'll be able to share it. I have cut out all my pieces. These are my facing and these are my skirt pieces. I have already fused all my facing pieces, so they're ready to go. That's basically your first step before you even really get into it. The next step is we're going to stay stitch all the skirt pieces around the waistline. I'm starting with my back pieces, and I've just written on each piece what pattern piece it is so I don't get confused later on. It's just with chalk, so it's just gonna come out in the wash anyway. Yeah, these are my back pieces, so that's the left side and that's the right side, and we're gonna stay stitch along these edges up here, and we're gonna work our way inwards. This side you're gonna come from here to here, here to here, here to here, and then you're going to do the opposite on this side, from this one to that one, that one to that one, that one to that one. That just makes sure that when you're stitching the stay stitch is that if there is any movement or stretch with the fabric, it's going in the same direction on either side. Just a tip for you guys. And then we're going to do basically the same thing to the front pieces as well, but let's start with the back. Starting with C, and this is the side seam along here, and we're going inwards. This is B. This is A. So that is the stay stitching done on this side, and we're just going to repeat that step on the other side. The back has been stay stitched. I'm going to do that to the front as well. Here are my front pieces laid out. D, E, F, E, D. Yeah, we're going to stay stitch from here into the center front and from here into the center front. That is the front stay stitching done. I'm just going to put all my skirt pieces aside for a minute because we're just going to work on our facing pieces. I've got the center back edge here, side seam, center front, side seam, center back. So it's all laid out perfectly, and we're going to put these right sides together, and we're going to pin and sew these edges. So this one and this one as well. We're going to pin and sew these edges. I'm just going to sew these at 1/2 inch on either side. This is how that is looking now. Yeah, that's how it looks. Now we're just going to press these seam allowances in towards the center front. The next step is to finish the bottom edge of the facing, so this like long edge here. I'm using my overlocker. You can obviously use like a zigzag stitch if you don't have an overlocker instead, but yeah, I'm using an overlocker to finish my edges. The next step is to lay your pattern pieces out like this with the wrong side facing up. I have gone ahead and relabeled all of these pieces just so I can see them a bit clearer and make sure I know exactly which ones are which. It still goes A, B, C, D, E, F, E, D, C, B, A. That's all your pattern pieces laid out like that. It's not really necessary to do the whole thing, but it's just a good way to visually see your skirt coming together. The next step, you're gonna work your way along sewing each panel together, so it's just kind of like easy to see it coming together like this, but you can work in like little segments if you prefer. You also want to set your machine up with your top stitching thread. You also want to change your needle over to a top stitching needle. You also want to adjust all your settings for your fabric and just tension and stuff. I've just done a few test swatches here and I'm happy with this one on the end just here, that one, because it is nice and straight. It's got defined stitches, and on the back it doesn't have any white bits coming through. You literally can't see it. You can see there's white bits on these two here, but none on the third one that you can see here. Kept my machine to that setting, which is, I've got my stitch length at a 4, I've got my thread tension dial at a 4, and my presser foot is at a 5. Okay, I've got pattern piece A and pattern piece B here because they're the only two I'm really working with right now. I'm going to pin them wrong sides together along the panel seam. Make sure your notches line up. And then we're going to sew this together, but we're going to make sure the pattern piece A is actually on the bottom when we sew. Flip it around like this so B is facing up. So I've got my pieces. This is pattern piece B on the top, and this is pattern piece A on the bottom. And don't backstitch with top stitching thread. So the top stitching should be on pattern piece B, and there should be normal matching thread on the bottom on pattern piece A that you cannot see. And you open it like this, so the top stitching will be on the B side and A side will be invisible. I've just grabbed my other A and B side, so this side is B, A, and we're going to do the exact same steps as before. So making sure that A is on the bottom, so this is A, I'm going to flip it so that now B is on the top. So we have both our sides for A and B done. We're just going to press these seams to the center back. So this is pattern piece A, this is pattern piece B, that's the center back, and I'm pressing the seam allowance towards the center back so that the top stitching is visible. There is one side done. So now it's the opposite. This is pattern piece A and this is pattern piece B. The center back is on this side. I'm going to press the seam allowance towards the center back. So this is what my pattern pieces are looking like. A and B are together, A and B are together. So they're done. So the next piece to grab is pattern piece C. And we're going to do the exact same step we just did with A and B. We're going to sew these together wrong sides. Same with this side, wrong sides together. Making sure that pattern piece B is on the bottom when you sew. Here's my pattern piece C is on the top and B is on the bottom. And that's what it should look like. Do the same to the other side, making sure pattern piece B is on the bottom. Pressing the seam allowance towards the centre back. So the next pattern piece we are working with is pattern piece D, which I've laid out here. We're going to be sewing it to pattern piece C, wrong sides together. The exact same thing. I'm just going to do one side at a time because it's getting a bit chaotic. So yeah, we've got pattern piece D getting sewn wrong sides together to pattern piece C, making sure that pattern piece C is on the bottom when you sew. So pattern piece D on top and pattern piece C on the bottom. There we go. And we're going to iron this towards the center back again, and I'm going to do the other side off camera. This is how it's looking. We've got A, B, C, D all attached together, and then I've got E ready to sew together, and this is the other side, A, B, C, D sewn together, and then E getting ready to sew together again. And it's the exact same step. Going to sew these together, wrong sides together, making sure D is on the bottom and E is on the top. And then we're going to press the seam. This is how the skirt is looking so far. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, and then E, D, C, B, A. The last pattern piece we need to attach is F, which is the center front. So I'm going to work one side at a time. And exactly the same as all the other steps, I'm going to sew this wrong sides together and making sure that pattern piece E is on the bottom. We just attached F to E on this side, and we're going to attach F to E on this side by putting them wrong sides together and sewing with E on the bottom. This is what it's looking like now. We've got F attached. I just need to iron these towards the center back, which is that way, and this one that way. And then that is the skirt like all assembled. Now that we've finished ironing these seams, we're going to pin or base stitch each panel seam allowance in place. So this is how it's looking, and it's ready to be top stitched. I like to use my machine's foot as a guide for how far away to stitch from the top stitching line here, and it just makes it easier to keep it nice and straight, but you can use any width you want here if you prefer it to be smaller or bigger. And that is how it looks. And you're going to repeat that for all the panels. Halfway through, and this is what it's looking like. And I've just got the other half to do. Finished top stitching. All the panels are done. You're completely finished with top stitching, so you can put your machine back to normal settings and normal stitch and everything as before. The next step is we're going to overlock or finish the center back edges. Now we're up to attaching the invisible zipper to the center back. So we've got our skirt, we're gonna lay it out flat. So this is the center back here, and we're going to take our zipper and we're going to put the right side facing down, so it's right sides together. This is what that is looking like now. To sew an invisible zipper, we need to use an invisible zipper foot on our machine. So I'm going to change this one over to my concealed zipper foot, which looks like this. So we're going to stitch the zipper in place as close as we can to the teeth. We're going to uncoil the zipper like this, so it gets even closer. I'm just going to keep uncoiling the whole way. And when you get to the end, you're just going to get as close as you can. And this is what it should look like. Nice and close. So we've got our skirt here. Our zipper is on this side. We're just going to bring the skirt in like this, so the center back edges are close together. So this is our zipper on this side. I'm just going to unzip it to make it a bit easier. And I'm going to take this zipper and place it right sides together on the other edge of the center back, and we're going to pin that in place. And then you should always gently zip it back up, just to make sure everything is aligning nicely. So exactly like what we did before, we're going to uncoil the zipper and sew all the way down. This is what it will look like. And on the right side, it should be invisible like that. The next step is to finish off the center back edge that is still open. So what we're going to do is flip this back so that the wrong side is facing out, and we're going to make sure that the center back seams are facing right sides together. I'm just going to flip that so it's a bit easier, and we are just going to pin this together. And we're going to sew that up as close as we can to the original stitches of the invisible zipper. I've changed my foot back to my original, just like regular foot, because we don't need the concealed zipper foot anymore. This can be a little bit tricky. You can try and pull your zipper out like this so it's out of the way and doesn't get caught. And that's what mine looks like. And then we're just going to press that seam allowance open. Ignore the messy room, but this is how it is looking so far. So it's literally just the hem and the waist edge to be finished. Looking very cute so far. Next step, we're going to add the facing to the waist. So with the center back zipper open, we're going to attach the facing right sides together and pin that all around. So you're going to open the zipper so it's like this. We're going to pin in place. And we're just going to make our way around the entire skirt, making sure that the side seams, the center front and center back all line up. So back to the center back, and we're going to flip open that zipper and pin all the way to the edge. Here is a close-up of that. That's the zipper and it's open, and this is being pinned all the way to the edge. Same on this side. And then we're just going to sew around that edge. The next step is to flip the facing up and iron the seam allowance going up. There we go. So that's what it should look like. Then we're going to sew an understitch on the facing side about 3 millimeters away from the edge, and that'll stitch the seam allowance in place. That's what it looks like there. You can just see it along the top. So it's not visible on the garment when we're going to iron it down like this. We're going to take our facing and we're going to flip it down so that the right sides are touching. And we're going to pin this edge shut. Do the same to the other side. And then we're going to stitch that down. So this is what your facing should look like, and we're just going to clip these little corners here to reduce the bulk. So that's what that looks like now, and then we're going to flip the facing to the inside of the garment, pushing out those corners as much as you can. We're just going to press the facing in place. And the waist edge is now finished. You can leave your hem raw if you prefer, but I'm going to finish mine by overlocking. You can use a zigzag stitch if you don't have an overlocker. Next we're going to sew a 1/2 inch away from the hem, just as a guide, so when we fold it up on the next step it's even all the way around. So I've just flipped my skirt to the wrong side. That is the basting stitch there, and we're going to fold that up to the wrong side of the garment, press and pin that in place. So that is the hem of the skirt, and we're going to sew that in place. And that is your alley skirt complete. So that's the hem we just did. You can use top stitching thread on the hem, by the way. I just use normal thread. This is the alley skirt on, fully complete. I hope this tutorial was helpful, and if you make the alley skirt, make sure to share it on social media and tag me.